Resolved, this house believes that smartphones make kids stupid. Mr. Adjudicator, sir, member of this honorable house, good afternoon. My role as the first speaker, one, is to define the importance of the proposition. Two, define what are we proposing and how are we going to make it happen. Three, prove that our proposition is practicable. When we say smartphones, we don't need to make a distinction between smartphones and Androids. It is all kinds of gadgets, tablets, laptops, etc. When we say kids, people who are 17 years old and below, people who can be subjected to the restrictions of their parents and teachers. Take note. We acknowledge the fact that there are some below 17-year-old people who can make decisions on their own and are not restricted by their parents. For the sake of this debate, we do not include them in our definition of kids. Stupid, slow mind, lacking intelligence or reason, dull, ignorant, accentsless, lacks analytical skills, not having or showing an ability to absorb ideas readily, idiot. We try to exhaust every definition we can find for the word because we want to stress that when we say stupid, we mean every inch of it. So if put these definitions together, the proposition for this afternoon is resolved. This house believe that smartphones make kids below 17-year-old stupid, and that is good. We have two aspects of our proposal. One, practical aspect, and two, technical aspect. On practical aspect, our proposal is for parents and teachers to take away the restrictions for kids to use their smartphones. When we say restrictions preventing kids from using their smartphones, in our proposal, we let kids use their smartphones anytime and for as long as they want. At this point, I will be setting the parameters in this debate. There is no limit to this debate to Philippines alone, so we can take the global perspective. On excessive sex and violence, we have to acknowledge the fact that there are censorship countermeasures for that are already in place. Our proposition does not include lifting this censorship and countermeasures. We will keep this. Again, when we say restrictions, we only mean restrictions on the usage of the phone. The technical aspect of our proposal create apps and games that will just waste time. Right now, there are complex games. In the future, artificial intelligence will develop and create these apps and programs. Games will be less analytical, more in the likes of Angry Bird and Temple Run, where we just do up, down, left, and right. Human tasks like how to brush my teeth and fix my bed will have an app that will give simplified instructions. The smartphones continue to advance while the level of human intelligence continue to be diminished. Whatever task, whatever occupation we have in the future will be simplified. Things will be done faster, more efficient, and repeatable. Our beneficiality speaker church will explain this further later on. She will talk about the hospital in West Virginia and you will be blown away by her example. We have three stages. Stage one for 1 year. Information dissemination. We will explain to the parents and teachers why it is necessary. Lizette, our second speaker, will further explain it later on. We will also explain to them why the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. Stage two, more or less 2 years. Once the information is out and the parents and teachers agreed to lift the restrictions, full implementation will take place. No more restrictions. We will have the feeling of a brighter future ahead. Stage 3. Onwards to a brighter future. Encourage kids to use their smartphones whenever they are not using them enough. Aside from the parents and teachers, since some of the kids will become adults at this point and will be working at this stage, we will also include the employers and supervisors to lift the restrictions. Smartphones should also be allowed in the workplace. To close, let me tell you my personal story. I used this debate to convince my parents to lift restrictions on my smartphones. So please bear with me if I start to manifest our proposition. Oh wait, let me check on it. Yeah, I still have it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Practicability Speaker for the affirmative side. So my first question is, you gave definition to kids as 17 and below, people who can be subjected to the restrictions of their parents. Are you saying that we are to focus on kids, even though the topic statement says that we are referring to students?
Yes.
We are referring to kids. You're saying that.
No.
But you just said yes. Then what are you insinuating? Who are we referring to? Kids or students?
I'm referring to both.
Both, but you said in your speech that we refer to kids. Okay, next. You mentioned in your speech that games will be less analytical, like Angry Birds and Temple Run, correct?
Yes.
Now, is that the only use of smartphones? Is that the only thing we can get from said gadget?
No.
Then why did you not mention other uses of smartphones?
That's already implied.
That's already implied. Okay, in your speech, you gave emphasis to the restrictions on the usage of phones. Is that correct?
Yes.
Why do you think the usage of phones must be restricted?
You want me to repeat my speech?
No, I'm asking, why do you think the usage of phones must be restricted?
Restricted from what?
Restricted. You defined that in your speech. Why are you asking me? Shall I repeat my question? Shall I repeat my question, mister?
Yes, please.
Why do you think the usage of phones must be restricted? Do you think the manner of how the student uses the smartphone is important? That's why we need to restrict it? Yes
We
or
need
no,
to
sir?
restrict, we need to restrict those. We need to have those restrictions for excessive sex and violence. We have to acknowledge the fact that there are
Excessive sex and violence? What is the relation of that to smartphones? Please expound.
we're lifting the restrictions for that.
But you said a while ago that you are pro the restriction of the smartphones. This is not a very clear one, okay? So,
Yes, we're lifting the restrictions.
okay, let's move on to the next one. Do you think that the manner of how the student uses the smartphone is the reason why we should restrict their usage? Yes or no, please?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Therefore, it is the manner of how the student uses it, not the smartphone, that makes the student stupid. Thank you very much, sir. That ends my interpolation. Good afternoon to the honorable adjudicators, my worthy opposition, and to the audience. My name is Kiara Tan, and I am here to prove that it is not the smartphone that makes a student stupid. From the practicability speaker of the affirmative side's claims. First, the opponent focused on kids, but the topic statement says that we are to focus on students. Second, the opponent did not clarify nor give information on the effect of smartphones to students. And lastly, during the interpellation, the opponent agreed with me. And the opponent agreed with me that the manner of how a student uses a smartphone is what makes them stupid. And that is this house's proposition. It is the manner of how the smartphone is used that invokes the stupidity of a person, not the smartphone. Let me define some terms. First, smartphones. I acknowledge my opposition's definition, but I shall give a more complete definition. According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, it is defined as a mobile phone that performs many of the functions of a computer. First, it has typically a touchscreen interface. Second, it can be connected to internet access. And third, it has an operating system capable of running downloaded applications. Therefore, in this argument, other gadgets and forms of technology that have the same three qualifications are valid. Examples of such gadgets are iPads, tablets, touchscreen laptops, and smart watches. Smartphones are a form of technology and innovation that have multiple uses in our lives. Technology is defined as the application of knowledge for practical purposes. Technology moves forward with the flow of innovation, and we must take the opportunity to use that as supplements to one's knowledge. Which leads me to the second term, supplementary tool. It is defined as a tool that completes or enhances one's thinking. Professor Anthony Camiro of the University of Cincinnati stated that smart technology supplements thinking and the development of one's mind, thus helping us to excel. Smartphones are useful supplementary or auxiliary tools for memory, calculating, and data storage, as well as displaying information. For the third term, according to medically reviewed Ms. Kendra Cherry, cognition refers to the mental processes involved in gaining knowledge and comprehension. Examples of such are reasoning, problem solving, planning, and abstract thinking. According to Mr. Camiro, smartphones change the ways in which we engage biological cognitive abilities, and this is a good thing. Now let's move on to the fourth term. I acknowledge my opponent's definition, but once again, I shall define it in a more concise manner. According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, stupidity is a behavior that show lack of good sense or judgment. In simple words, it is the quality of being stupid, foolish, or unintelligent. What's the opposite of stupid? Smart. That's the fifth term. Being smart is having good sense and judgment, and is used to describe someone who shows intelligence or someone very good at learning or thinking about things. Now, for the sixth term, students, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines this word as a person who attends a school, college, or university. It is also defined as a person who studies or takes interest on a subject matter. There's this saying from Mr. Winston Marshall that goes, every day is a learning day. Therefore, we all are students, for we all learn something every day. It is a fact to say that the state of a person as a student is something to be constant and permanent, because it is impossible not to learn unless neurological mental illnesses or a state of coma is residing. Now, for my seventh and last term, manner. It is defined by the Oxford Language Dictionary as a way in which a thing is done. In this case, we talk about the manner of how the student uses the smartphone. Do they take advantage of the technology by studying, or do they abuse it and disregard the fact that a smartphone is a supplementary tool? Smartphones give students the opportunity to gain knowledge. And when that opportunity is overlooked, when that opportunity is abused, then that is what makes the student stupid. To conclude my speech, let me answer the 5W questions to be concise. Who, what, when, where, and why. Who are we talking about? Students. What are we referring to? The stupidity caused by the manner of how students use said device. When is the time frame of this topic? From the moment smartphones are invented up until they're gone. But smartphones aren't going to disappear anytime soon. Where is the settled of this argument? This is a universal topic as smartphones are present around the world. And lastly, why are we here? To prove why thinking that smartphones contribute the stupidity of a student is impractical. It is looking at a problem through the lenses of an incorrect solution. The correct and feasible way of looking at this is that it is not the smartphone that makes the student stupid. It is the manner of how the student uses it. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. You mentioned additional definition on smartphones in your speech, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you listen to my definition?
Yes, I did. As I said, I acknowledge your definition, but I have a more complete definition. I said that it has the functions of a computer, and I gave the functions of said computer.
I
Okay, I'm
cannot hear.
satisfied. We are talking about the same thing, right? We mean every gadget.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but I
So this
specified
additional
what the
definition
functions of
is
the
not
gadget are.
academic.
I specified what functions.
I'm
I
satisfied. Thank you. Thank you. Next question. We are talking about the same thing, right? We mean every gadget.
Yes,
So those additional definition is smooth and academic.
pardon, I did not hear.
You said in your speech that you acknowledge our definition, yes or no?
Acknowledge not every definition. Not
You
every
kept on
definition.
saying, okay, thank you. You kept on saying that our propositions is for the students, right?
No, I said that your proposition is for the kids. You
Okay.
mentioned that in your speech.
Are you really aware of that proposition? Do you know that it is smartphones make kids stupid and not students?
No, I do not agree with that. I did not say that in my speech.
Okay, next question. You said in your speech that stupid means unintelligent, right?
Yes, I did.
Did you listen to my definition?
Once again, I acknowledged your definition, but I gave a more complete definition in favor
Okay,
of my
thank you.
team.
I said lack of intelligence, not absence of intelligence, right?
I do not remember. I do not
Would
remember
you
your
again
speech.
like to know? Would you like to know my source?
No, I did not ask that during the interpolation.
Okay,
This is your time for you to question me.
okay. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Game 1, we talked about herd immunity. Game 2, this time we will talk about herd stupidity. Mr. Adjudicator, sir, members of this honorable house, a pleasant afternoon to everyone. I am Lizette and I am your necessity speaker of the affirmative. My task today is to prove that the motion is necessary. But before I go on to my case, let me rebut the arguments presented by the first speaker of the negative. Kiara talked about the students, but the proposition is about the kids. Our opponent is confused of the proposition. Next, she gave a definition of smartphones, but Mark and Kiara are talking about the same things. What's the counter definition for? Next, they did not have time to know Mark's source, so I'm here to tell you. Mark's source is common sense. Another, Kiara was asked if she was listening to the definition and she said yes. But when Mark asked if she know the definition is about lack of intelligence and not absence of intelligence, Kiara answered, I don't remember. Is she really listening? Now let me go to my case. Why change? Why should parents and teachers lift up the restrictions on our smartphones? Later on, why should employers lift up the restrictions at the workplace? Unlike Mark, I'm going to be using and stating lesser reliable source, which is our research. First, restrictions are just an exercise of futility. Second, it will give a serious psychological effect on the kids. Third, it will not cooperate with the gift of technology. First, restrictions are just an exercise of futility. When we're researching for the topic in Google, it came up with more than 12 million results. Therefore, it is inevitable that smartphones are indeed making all of us stupid. Since it's inevitable, why not make the most out of it? According to Pew Research Center, a nonpartisan fact tank that informs the public about the issues, attitudes, and trends shaping the world. This is how the stupidity process. Let us break it down to just one app, Facebook, for example. We break it even smaller to just the messenger. It will take an effort to exercise the neurons or the muscles of your memory to have retention. As you have more conversations, it will require more effort. To a certain point, kids will find it pointless to remember specific information since they can always back read to remind them. There's no more need for attention. We are just talking about the messenger. How about maintaining an account, groups, pages, etc.? And of course, there are other apps like YouTube, Instagram, Zoom. The more it is evident that there is no more need for attention. Since our intelligence is not being exercised, our intelligence diminishes. Well, it came out from Albert Einstein. He said, never memorize something you can look up. Second, serious psychological repercussions. According to Frontier Psychology Studies, human media interactions, 127 were restricted, 93 were controlled. The restriction build up their anxiety and depression. Restriction provokes psychological withdrawal symptoms, unable to answer incoming calls, and once a smartphone was found to cause increased heart rate and blood pressure, as well as feelings of anxiety and unpleasantness. Finally, third, the gift of technology. According to ZME Science, one smartphone is millions of times more powerful than the combined 2048 computers that launched the first rocket ship to the moon on July 16, 1969. We have that much power available in our hands, and it will continue to improve. Parents and teachers should cooperate with the gift of technology instead of fighting it. So what have I told you so far? I rebut the arguments of the first negative speaker, and I also gave you my cases, which are restrictions are just an exercise of futility. Second, restrictions will give a serious psychological effect on the kids. And third, it will not cooperate with the gift of technology. In the end, being smarter is just a matter of pride. Imagine a society of stupidity with smartphones doing the thinking for us. Think about it with the little intelligence we still have left. It will be an awesome place to live. And that is where I rest my case, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Ms. Speaker. I will first ask you, is a smartphone a smart device? Yes or
Yes.
no will suffice. Thank you. Do you agree that smartphones gives out information?
Yes.
Therefore, its goal to make the users attain information, correct?
No.
Then
Yes, I mean
what is the
yes.
purpose? Okay, thank you. What is the purpose of a smartphone? Is it for the good, for the betterment of the students or not? Because you agreed with me that they give out information. So I assume it's for the betterment of them, correct? Yes or no will suffice.
Yes.
Thank you. Therefore, if they have the control, students, let's talk about the students first. Students are also to think as to when and how much they use it, correct? The smartphone
Yes.
devices? Okay. Therefore, if they have that control, they will not let it affect their minds negatively, correct?
It depends on the students.
Okay, it depends. So are you saying that it is based on the manner and not on the smartphone devices themselves?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's not based on the smartphones, are you saying that it's in the manner of the students?
Yes, of course.
Okay, therefore it's not the smartphones. Thank you. Oh, so are you implying that these people who are who the students are the students will have the right to choose what's best for them? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So for your speech, I would ask, can you please clarify the word common sense for you? Because the common sense here is that smartphones are smart devices, therefore they cannot make someone on the opposite way around. So can you please clarify the word common sense? Oh, proceed to the next question. What is lesser reliable for you? You stated that in your speech. Lesser reliable. What does that mean? You have the data, the information in the smartphone, so why is it not reliable enough?
My research.
What's your
I'm sorry,
research
the audio
then?
is a bit
What's your
late.
research then?
My research is less reliable than
Okay,
common
thank you.
sense.
So what's the medical term for that so that I can believe that your evidence is correct? What's the medical term that says that students, smartphones make students stupid? Do you have the medical term for that? Because if you have, I will believe your statement.
I researched for it. I researched for it. That's why you
What's it
should believe.
called? What's it called?
Time.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker. Good afternoon to the respectable adjudicator, to my fellow debaters, and to the members of the audience. Before I outline my team's point, I'd like to point out first some of our opponents' arguments that needs to be addressed. I shall make it clear that this rebuttal is for all the speakers of the opposition as they work for one team. The first affirmative speaker said in his speech that phrase slow mind rather, as the having the base of the fact of SD News, students are actually picking up information at a faster pace and is aware of the current events through these tools. He also mentioned about sex and violence, which he did not expound during the interpellation of my team member. Instead of expounding it, he agreed with my team. Another is the restrictions. It is the students, the doer of the action that needs restrictions, the manner. Therefore, it is definitely not the smartphones. Personal story. Use this debate to lift his restriction on smartphones, which is an anecdotal fallacy. The second affirmative speaker, on the other hand, also gave a fallacy called contextonomy. It was a quote taken out of context. Never memorize what you can look up in books is a quote often attributed to Einstein, though what he actually said was somewhat different. He was asked, but did you know the speed of a sound is included in the Edison test? The exact wording of the documented version of this Einstein quote is, I do not carry such information in my mindsets. It is readily available in books. The value of a college education is not the learning of many facts, but the training of the mind to think. To continue, allow me to state that smartphones allow students to get knowledge, information, and data in a click. When it comes to students' reliance on their phones, though, some may argue that they are losing their cognitive skills. On the contrary, if we dig deeper into this issue, we'll discover that it isn't with smartphones per se, because it is, without a doubt, a smart device. So, where exactly do we see the conflict? Well, technology all comes to how we use it and how students use it. Therefore, on the basis of UC News, experts have discovered that there is no convincing evidence that smartphones certainly change students' thinking the opposite way around. The other team didn't even give a medical term. Smartphones have become indispensable in recent years due to the connectivity and the information they give. As time goes on, the number of people who own smartphones will increase. To be specific, with the year 2025, it will be approximately 7.49 billion. Now it's 7.26 billion. As reported by NBC News, smartphones are for students as access to, knowledge of, and receipt of information, taking into consideration that everyone must determine for themselves how much they use technology and how they can control it, particularly smartphones. Now, technology can be entirely customized. Smartphones, in accordance with PSU, can actually make one smarter by freeing up memory that will otherwise be used for dull information and allowing the persons to use it for something else. Students who use it as a source of information will gain the ability to think and to learn. They will be able to learn facts and skills and apply them quickly. Also, in consonance with William Sanford Nye, an honorary doctorate of science from Simon Fraser University stated that smartphones make a person smarter. It is by the reason that they help free up memory one can normally use for mundane information. Our nonverbal reasoning skills will be improved by these helpful devices, which can be attributable to the way our brains process information from our smartphones and other technology. Another piece of evidence we have from the University of Cincinnati just this July 2, 2021. Very recent. This is very important. Part of the research team, Anthony Quemero, PhD, proved that what smartphones and digital technology actually do is to change the ways in which we engage our biological, cognitive, or cerebral abilities. These changes are actually cognitive beneficial and make the users, students gain more information. He also stated that when technology is put all together with the human brain, one can get something that is smarter, and the result is that people, supplemented by technology, are actually capable of accomplishing much more complex tasks with rather than unsupplemented biological activities. With my statements based on facts, the solution is really within our reach. It is within our reach. It is to teach ourselves and the students how to balance the use of smartphones. Additionally, smartphones contribute to the development of a unique human intelligence by providing resources to which everyone can resort for knowledge. Smartphones, in particular, are there to assist. It is not invented to degrade one's knowledge. It is there to allow people of all ages, particularly students, to treat it as an efficient tool towards intelligence. It is evident that we have the opportunity to choose what is best for us. To conclude what I have stated, I am here to negate my opposition by saying that smartphones make students gain knowledge, whether it's from the scientific basis, just like what I have mentioned a while ago, or from basic logic. Smartphones is an aid for knowledge and intelligence that people use as a part of their day-to-day lives. For the students, we are not implying that you'll fully be dependent on these devices. We are insinuating that using these devices are a need in our modern time, and smartphones serve as a supplementary tool, just like what my first negative speaker said, for the growth and development of one's mind. I have stated my team's pieces of evidence clearly, and this is where I will rest my case. Thank you very much.
Hello again, Ms. Speaker. You talked about the benefits of smartphones, right?
I did somehow.
And you said that smartphones are helping us, did you not?
Helping us, the phrase helping us, that's not in my speech, helping us.
Okay, that it is invented to help us or not.
Invented to help us, that's not exactly what I have said.
Okay. You are the necessity speaker, right?
Of course I am,
Are you aware that that's not your role?
but it is part of the team.
Now you're aware. Since you talked about the benefits, again, you said that smartphones are helping us.
Of course. That's why it is necessary. It's part of the necessity speaker.
Are you listening to our proposition?
Of course I am.
We are saying that smartphones will help stupid people intelligent, right?
But I am negating that. I listened, but I negated that.
Well, I'm glad you're aware.
I'm not
So
aware.
you are on our side, Miss Amara.
No, I'm not. I negated that, Ms. Speaker.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker.
Zandai Institute in West Virginia is a real hospital with real doctors, nurses, and other non-medical staff. What is so unique about this hospital is that everyone, from doctors down to their janitors, earns the same salary. Mr. Adjudicator, sir, members of this honorable house, a pleasant afternoon to everyone. I am Church Allison, and I'm your beneficiality speaker of the government. As a third speaker, my task is to give the benefits and the advantages of the proposition. Before I do that, allow me to rebut the arguments of our opponents. The necessity speaker is talking about the benefits, which is not her role. The necessity speaker is confused on her role. Another parents and teachers are giving restrictions, and that's our proposal. They are on our side. Amara mentioned everyone have the right to determine to themselves where and when to use their phones. It's spousing as well, so they're crossing our house. Now let me go to my case. It is beneficial to let smartphones make us stupid by lifting the restrictions because of the following. 1. Eliminate the cancel culture. 2. Stupid kids are healthier both physically and psychologically. 3. Smartphones will create an efficient society. 4. Smartphones will create a level playing field in the society. 5. World peace can be achieved. 1. According to www.forbes.com, the major cause of cancel culture is social classes. No more social classes. No more cancel culture. Nowadays, especially this upcoming election, people are fighting. They tend to tag someone as stupid if they vote for a certain candidate. Once stupidity becomes the norm, there will be no sense of superiority. Then there will be no more social classes, no more cancel culture. Number 2, according to nationalgeographic.com, intelligent people tend to overthink, overanalyze situation. They try to calculate. People who are stupid just do. They are fearless. They are not afraid to fail. Smart people learn the rules. Stupid people just play. People with high IQ have low EQ. These factors have effects on physical and psychological health on the individual. Hence, stupid people are healthier. 3. According to ZME Science, one smartphone is millions of times more powerful than the combined 2048 computers that launched first a rocket ship to the moon on July 16, 1969. Smartphones do the analysis for us, do the calculations. It is precise, it is efficient, and it is repeatable. It will produce the same level of results, same level of success. Number 4, smartphones will create a level playing field in society. Going back to the Zendaya Institute in West Virginia, eliminates 90% of the cost for primary care. $300 a month is for medical and non-medical stuff. Everyone treats each other as equals. No more entitlement, no more power tripping. This hospital is run by the famous doctor, Dr. Patch Adams. It will be a lot easier to treat each other like equals if we become a society of stupid people. 5. According to Britannica.com, wars are caused by the constant battle of who is right. A community of stupid is agreeable. It will be easy to achieve harmony. No sense of entitlement. Stupid people are obedient, submissive, and humble and agreeable. The battle and search for truth will come to an end with smartphones. Nations will understand that the truth that our smartphones have come up with has undergone extensive calculations and analysis. When there is truth, there is peace. What have I told you so far? I rebutted the speech of Amara, which is my role. She is confused of her role because she's talking about the benefits, which is not her role because she's the necessity speaker. And I also gave my cases, which are eliminate cancel culture, stupid kids are healthier both physically and psychologically, smartphones will create an efficient society, smartphones will create a level playing field in the society, and world peace can be achieved. Only a few can be intelligent. We can all be stupid and use our smartphones to make intelligent choices. There is wisdom in stupidity. That's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon to my honorable beneficiary speaker. I would like to ask you a few questions, but before that, I would like to tell you, please answer all of my questions from your own mouth, from your own thinking, and not from any other person's answers. I would like to begin. Yes or no questions. Are you aware of the caste system, the social system present in the Spaniards' era colonization in the Philippines?
Yes.
Yes, it is a social system present during Spanish colonization era. Has social classism existed before smartphones?
You're speaking too fast. I can't understand you.
Okay. Has social classism existed before smartphones?
Yes.
Yes. Therefore, social classism is not because of smartphones. Now I'll give you this question. As you have stated in your speech, cancel culture. If cancel culture were to disappear, does everybody become smart?
No.
Hey, no. Let's bring you that question. After that question, I would like to ask you, do smartphones give us our main source of information nowadays? News, an example. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. If smartphones makes us stupid, should we get rid of smartphones then? Quote.
Smartphones will help us. To
Yes or no?
That's my
Answer
answer.
me, yes or no?
That's my answer.
Repeat it. Yes or no?
No.
Okay, but wouldn't that be eliminating our main source of information? A little backwards, isn't it?
What?
But wouldn't that be eliminating our main source of information? A little backwards, isn't it?
We're not eliminating cell phones. I did not say that in your speech. Where did you get
You did
that?
say no. You did say no, didn't you? Moving on. I'm satisfied. Your team, in necessity speaker, basically said that we rely on phones for communicating, correct?
Yes. Maybe.
But do you have an alternate mode of communication under the pandemic, under the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes. You can talk one-on-one with your parents, with your siblings, with your family. You don't need to communicate with other persons that has the far location. You can talk to the people
I'm
that is near
satisfied.
to
I'm
you.
satisfied. Thank you so much. But after that, how are you going to communicate ambulances without using a smartphone?
What?
How?
You're lagging.
Did not answer.
You're lagging.
Okay. Okay, I will make it slower for you. If you no longer have smartphones, have no longer an alternate mode of communication in using smartphones, what then are you going to use in the face of the pandemic?
I can talk with my parents. I have choice to talk with my parents. I don't need to talk to my
But you are in
friends. I
quarantine.
can talk to my
You are in quarantine if you are sick, aren't you? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, you don't need to be rich with each
All
other.
right, I'm satisfied. I am satisfied. Thank you so much. But with that, last question. Do smartphone mobile games make us stupid? Okay, good afternoon to my honorable educators, my team and our opposition. I am your beneficiality speaker, Mary Villarreal, and I'm here to negate the statement. Smartphones do make students stupid. First and foremost, for the rebut, Miss Beneficiality Speaker the opposing team has used multiple fallacies. Salary cannot be compared with smartphones. Red herring, slippery slow fallacies such as when she said an event that results to another event, which is pure assumption. She also tried to divert the topic from smartphones make students stupid to stupid people are, end quote. And add to that, she acknowledged that social classism existed before the pandemic. Therefore, it is not a problem caused by smartphones. Add to the fact that she was implying with the cancel culture that if we regulate information in social media, people would become healthier and world peace such that. And then I would like to begin with my speech. Moving with the flow of innovation, filling in the pre-existing stupidity. Technology only moves with the flow of innovation as it is part of such. By my teammates' definition, technological innovation is the economic function through which new technologies are introduced into production and consumption. It is important because technological advances have played a key role in facilitating radically improved standards of living. By that definition, it is meant that innovation is supposed to fill in the gaps that we were not able to fill in from before. We now have technology that supports and counts calories and can help us keep track of our health statistics that are present in smartphones. These innovations are aids to tasks we as humans want to improve on our fill-in day that they could not do as well on before. It is already established in our status quo. And while yes, we are dependent upon them to do difficult tasks such as calorie counting, which we could not do easily before, and to assist in our tasks that does not entail stupidity because dependence is not lack of common sense. Brings me to another of my points. It would be difficult to have them all removed. I disagree to smartphones making us stupid, but hypothetically, if it could be proven, then we don't want anything making the human race an intelligent species to further degrade our intellect, correct? We would have it removed logically, and would that be practicable?
According to Bank MySell, a price comparison site for smartphones based in the United States, there are 6.64 billion cell phone users in the world. It would be disadvantageous to remove all forms of smartphones from these billions, correct? That would be moving backwards, as I've stated in my first point. The argument gives zero accountability to humans in placing the blame upon smartphones for making us stupid. We humans sound stupid. That idea online that they claim to be phones, right? Yes, we are able to access information through smartphones, but where does the information come from? Yes, we acknowledge that smartphones have a role in spreading information, but I believe in social media applications, there is always a reminder to read before you repost an article. I believe that the feature on Twitter, coined read before you retweet, by the media and the people. Facebook has IFCN, or International Fact-Checking Network, and independent third-party checkers. If there is any lack of good judgment, it comes from the human who reposts and creates and add to the network of false information shared by other individuals who lack a good sense of judgment. It would not be sound to attack a book for giving wrong information. You would curse the author for writing wrong information, right? Attacking a problem at its roots is always the correct way to solve a problem. Even if we do establish that smartphones make us stupid, which I disagree to, would not the creator of smartphones and even the foundation of smartphones take the blame, whom I believe is human as well? Next to my point is students are able to practice their critical thinking. The internet does not have fake news regulated by fellow humans who have disregarded smartphones preventative measures for such. So as a current problem we are facing, sadly. However, this does not create a ground for students to establish and practice critical thinking. In addition to that, students have already shown progress of identifying fake news in November 2021, when more than half students surveyed by Ateneo School of Governance showed confidence in identifying fake news through assessments. The education system is also improving to adhere to their students' needs of social media, needs of media literacy, by creating a subject in senior high school dedicated to it, around the same age that we should learn to independently use one already, since we should have parental supervision for children under 18 if they are on social media. With that added, in fact, I would like to state that 74% of teachers have digital game-based learning to enhance their lessons. Juashka 2019, 93% of class time is spent on class when using game-based learning. Juashka 2019, 52% of young students have played educational games. Murray 2012, which shows effectivity in online learning, effectivity in everything that we use, and effectivity in supplementary use of smartphones. That is all. Thank you.
We gave a non-cell phone situation during our interpellation, right?
Repeat your question and good afternoon.
You gave no cell phone situation during our interpellation, right?
No,
No cell phone situation, you gave that. Don't you remember?
you mind stating it, quoting it if ever?
You gave a no cell phone situation in our interpellation earlier, right?
Please quote wherein I
Next question.
stated that.
Your speech is also about why it is not beneficial to have no cell phones, right?
Correct.
Who's against the technical advancement? Certainly not us. Are you against it?
I am not. When have I stated that?
Exactly, you are on our side. Are you aware that we're not saying that there were no social classes since the beginning?
Please repeat your question.
Are you aware that we're not saying that there were no social classes since the beginning?
You are negating yourself, but yes, correct.
I'm glad you're aware. Exactly, that's perfect. What we are saying is that allowing kids to use their smartphones will solve it, right? Are you aware of that?
How? Do you mind elaborating?
Our proposal is about allowing kids to use their phones to solve it, right? To solve the social classes, right?
Correct.
I'm glad you're aware. So again, who's asking to remove the cell phones? Certainly not us. Are you?
I'm not stating that. However, it is for a beneficiary's use.
I did not said you said that. I am asking you again. Who's asking to remove the cell phones? Certainly not us. Are you?
It is for the background of the context.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Answer. Just like what I did in your interpellation, Ms. Speaker. I answer you yes or no. Again, who's asking to remove the cell phones? Certainly not us. Are you?
No,
You are. That's your proposal. That's all.
I am not. Do not twist my answers.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Good
Thank you very
afternoon.
much.
Sorry, I did not greet you pala. Okay. Good afternoon.
Once again, good afternoon to the honorable educators, my opposition, and to the audience. As a reply speaker for negative side, I am here to prove why we won this debate. As a practicability speaker, I have, or Ms. Cara has defined the necessary terms and set the parameters of smartphones and forms of technology. She has acknowledged the opposition's definition, but she still defined incomplete terms. And that would support my team's stance. She has defined smartphones, technology, innovation, supplementary tool cognition, stupidity, smart, student, and manner. She has established that no, smartphones do not make students stupid. It is a manner of how they use it that makes it stupid. However, the practicability speaker of the affirmative side was unclear with his statements. He did not clarify that their team's proposition was. Is it for the restriction of usage of smartphones or that smartphones make students stupid? During the interpellation, he agreed with my team's stance. And the same thing happened with the necessary speaker of the affirmative side. On the other hand, we have clear point with our stance, claims, facts, and evidence. We confidently negated the opposition and supported our statements with facts and not opinion. As a city speaker, the city speaker, Ms. Amara, has clearly explained our stance necessary. She has stated that technology all comes down to how we use it and how students use it. Therefore, on the basis of UC News, experts have discovered that there is no convincing evidence that smartphones certainly change students' thinking. The opposite way around, she has provided statistics establishing that smartphones have been essential to many people, particularly 91.69% of the global population. She has gave emphasis on taking into consideration that everyone must determine for themselves how much they use technology and how they can control it, particularly smartphones. However, in the necessity speaker of the affirmative side has focused on the role of the speaker rather than the topic statement. The negative speaker, my team member, only gave one sentence of benefits and all of the rest suits her role, which is the necessity part, on why the students should need to know these devices do not make them any less smart. As the beneficiality speaker, I have established why smartphones help society progress, fix errors, promote critical thinking. Smartphones aid us to keep track, fix, and organize pre-existing problems or progressing statistics, helping individuals or societies as a whole to fill in gaps that were present. I have cited many advantages of smartphones to humanity's intellect and disadvantages given that they may be removed. The speech gave further assurance that smartphones don't cause or encourage stupidity in the form of how they made the applications enforce, the information being spread throughout the platforms, and how it teaches students to think critically before they believe a certain thread or started posting them. It is a manner of how students use the smartphones that makes them stupid. Before closing, we would like to list the errors in our opposition speeches, statements, and interpolations. The practicability speaker did not cite any specific evidence that smartphones themselves cause students to be stupid. They agreed with us on multiple occasions, supporting the fact that it's not the student's fault and in no way is it smartphones. In the necessity speech, there was a lack of specified terms and studies that the little information we were given didn't come from any mentioned credible sources, giving room for confusion and emptiness in their arguments, which was later pointed out by Ms. Amara. The beneficiality speech contained many assumptions created hypothetical, not probable, and proven solutions that can be executed, such as getting rid of cancel culture. And on the interpolation of the beneficiality speakers, the opposing team twisted the words of me, the beneficiality speaker. Their speeches were riddled with fallacies. To list a few, Mr. Practicability Speaker of the opposing team used anecdotal fallacy in his speech, used this debate to lift his restriction on smartphones. He used a personal experience as evidence for a claim. The society speaker used contextomy as an argument through a quote often attributed to Albert Einstein but doesn't carry the same exact meaning. This is also called as straw man fallacy. Ms. Presidentiality Speaker of the opposing team has used multiple fallacies. Salary cannot be compared with smartphones, red herring, slippery slope fallacy, such as when she cited an event or shows to another event, which is pure assumption. She also used to divert, tried to divert the topic from smartphones based on stupid. The stupid people are healthier. In conclusion, that House event proved that smartphones do not make us stupid. It is the manner of how the students use a smartphone provokes one's ability. We confidently back up our stance with credible, reliable, and accurate sources. We gave proper reasons in answering the questions and questions. We are the one who won this debate.
What happened between the white blood corpuscles and red blood corpuscles? They fell in love in vain. You don't find that joke funny? Then our proposition is closer to its completion. Again, a pleasant afternoon to everyone. We won this debate competition. Let's play baseball. Our team is the pitcher. First pitch on practicability. Our practicability speaker provided a perfect definition. And we also proved that it can be done. We showed our stages on how we are going to do it. And in technical aspect, it can also be done. On the other hand, Kiara talked about the students, but the proposition is about the kids. Our opponent is confused of the proposition. Next, she gave a definition of smartphones, but Mark and Kiara are talking about the same things. So what's the counter definition for? Another, Kiara was asked if she was listening to the definition, and she said yes. But when Mark asked if she know that the definition is about lack of intelligence and not absence of intelligence, Kiara answered, I don't remember. Is she really listening? Plus, Kiara did not explain how it can be done, which is his major role. Our opponent is confused on what's supposed to do. So that's strike one for the opposition. Second pitch, our necessity and beneficiality speaker have developed our cases such as it is necessary because restrictions are just an exercise of utility. Restrictions will give a serious psychological effects on students. Restrictions will not cooperate with the gift of technology. It is beneficial because it will eliminate cancel culture. Stupid kids are healthier both physically and psychologically. Smartphones will create an efficient society. Smartphones will create a level playing field in the society, and world peace can be achieved. And this is what happened. During the rebuttal of Lizette, the highlight is that Mark's source is common sense. Another, the necessity speaker is confused of her role. She's talking about the benefits, which is the beneficialities role. Now, in beneficiality round, we want stupidity to create, and in order to do that, more cell phones, the better. And that's what I'm proposing, not eliminating cell phones. Why are they forcing a situation about not having cell phones? That's our proposal. They are on our side from the very beginning. That's the reason why the first interpellation during the practicability and necessary is a little bit of confusing because they are on our side. That's it. We should really win this debate because they're on us. But again, that's strike two for the opposition. Finally, this is where I'm excited. The third pitch. This is the part where we made history. For the first time in the entire history of Interscholastic Debate Society, someone dared, and that is my team. Someone dared to do a send-up debate on a send-up round. Send-up means humorous debate. We urge the adjudicator to suspend their disbelief and judge the debate according to the merits of the case. Affirmative side were able not only to entertain the spectators, adjudicators, but our opponent as well. That's strike three, and they're out. We won this debate competition. My name is Church Allison. Thank you very much, and see you all in game 3.